So long since I actually got to you with another episode of my podcast. As you can see, background behind me, what we'll be discussing today is the new Superman film that just came out yesterday, Superman 2024, directed by James Gunn, released by Warner Brothers and DC Studios. I want to welcome you guys to the show. If you don't know, this is the Johnny Loves Movies podcast, where I usually do a deep dive discussion or I just do a plain old review. Now, this week is going to be the extravaganza episode. So, what I'm going to do actually is you're going to get three pods over the course of the weekend. Now, this is the most recent release, so we're going to talk Superman first. Then, we're going to talk about Heads of State and The Old Guard 2. And then I actually want to talk about Ironheart, which actually came out. It's not really a movie; it's more of a TV show. But we're going to talk about all three. I'm going to break it apart, and it's going to be on my YouTube channel, Johnny Stephen, the Johnny Stephen, where you can see a lot of my audio podcast or live events or stuff that I just shoot around town. Even some of my old stand-up stuff. So that's where the hub for all this is going to be. But I really wanted to discuss with you, like I said, Superman. Now, this is going to be a review that's kind of quick and it's kind of to the point. I don't want to keep you guys around so long. Sometimes I can ramble. So, what I like to do first is I like to start with my little quote before I break down the synopsis, give you my review, and if there's any meaning to parcel out of this, I will talk about the meaning. So, first quote, only quote from the great 2015 film, The Interview. Haters gonna hate, and ain'ters gonna ain't. Yes. The synopsis for this film, Superman 2025. It's a non-spoiler, so I ain't gonna spoil anything. I'm just gonna give you the bare bones, and the bare bones of this thing is this film is about Superman, of course, name's in the title. And in this world, this DC universe, metahumans, enhanced superheroes, individuals have been around for centuries. Superman, Clark Kent, Kal-El, landed on Earth about 30 years ago, so that makes him around 30 in this film. Superman came out as Superman 3 years before this film starts. Um, 2 weeks before the events of this film, sorry, 3 weeks before the events of this film, Superman disrupts a war in some foreign countries, creating a political incident where everybody's just at him. And 30 seconds before the film, Superman just got his first L in his entire career of being Superman. The film goes on from there, and you are, for the next 2 hours, you endure what could possibly be the messiest week in Superman's life. That, without getting into any spoilers, is the synopsis of this film. Now, I want to talk to you about the things I like. All right. First and foremost, I like the direction. James Gunn, for me, when it comes to the superhero fair, he hasn't missed yet. I loved Guardians 1, loved Guardians 2, loved Guardians 3, enjoyed Suicide Squad, enjoyed Peacemaker Season 1. James Gunn has been on a heater, and this film is no different. It's a good film. Uh, Parts of this film, to me, looks kind of like The Flash. And The Flash was a film that, I thought was middle of the road. I didn't really feel it that much. And it's funny, the director of photography of that film, the DP who does the cinematography, was also James Gunn's DP on Suicide Squad and on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So, honestly, I kind of expected um, that movie to look better than what it did. At times, that looked like a TV show. And I got to say, unfortunately, at times, Superman, this film right here, looks kind of like a TV show, but it's still cinematic. And and that's kind of a knock on it because it's like it's times I kind of want a consistent feels like a film feel, right? And there's a couple shots that didn't really feel like a film. It felt like three notches above CW and a notch below HBO, right? So you know it could have been better. There's more to be desired when it comes to the cinematography. I thought that the score was great by John Murphy. I believe that's his name. I thought the redux of the John Williams, let's say James Williams, of the legendary John Williams. The guy who also did the score for Harry Potter, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, Spielberg's guy, legend, living legend, still around kicking. Um, John Murphy does a wonderful remix rendition of the classic Superman theme, which I really love the fact that you have this score. Now, it's nowhere near John Williams, nowhere near Hans Zimmer's score for their Superman films. So this is still much better than what you get in traditional comic book film fare. So I will give it some flowers on that. Uh, let's see what else. I really enjoyed the script. Now, look, story wise, it's kind of a mess, but I feel like it's an intentional mess because it's supposed to put you in the shoes of Superman. This is his messy week, right? This is like Superman's not so good, terrible, horrible day, basically, but add that by several. So, um, I like the fact that we're kind of with Superman. We don't really know what's going on. You got Lex over here doing his chicanery. Then you got this situation over here with the two countries that you just stopped the whole war on. Then you got another like superhero being coming around, knocking your teeth out like left and right. You got stuff at the people trying to break into the Fortress of Solitude. You got a lot going on, right? You Superman. You got a lot of irons in the pot. You dealing with a lot. So I like the fact that you're put in that mode in this film. So I like the fact that it is a mess. I know that's a knock against it from some people who don't like the film, but I actually really like the fact that you're put in that mode where you don't really know what's going. Up and down, left, right, cats, dogs. You don't really know what's going on, but it was intentional. And when it comes together, when it crescendos into what it's supposed to be, this film script dope. There's lines of dialogue in this film that I really, really enjoy. I like the fact that Lex Luthor, Lex Luthor in this movie, dialogue wise, Lex Luthor spit. All right, I don't like what what he has to say, but I am saying that this bald dude is spitting. Like he has some dialogue where he was talking about. It's Galileo Copernicus. It's one of those smart people in the past, right? And he's just talking about how they actually did something. This guy, Superman, who is not equal to him at all, has to earn it, right? Like Lex Luthor, he said it makes him vomit in the back of his throat. I was like, damn, Lex. Um, so you have that dialogue right there, right? I didn't do it justice because I'm not James Gunn. All right, so I didn't do any. I kind of butchered. I kind of forgot my lines. If I was Lex Luthor, I would be yelling line in the middle of the scene, flubbing. So uh, you have that script, and then like I said, I enjoyed the dialogue in the script. I enjoyed the story that the script created. I respect the fact that even though it is a mess, it's intentionally messy. It's not messy just to be messy. Then you got the performances. Oh my God. You know what? No, hold on. I don't want to talk about performances yet. Before we even get to the performances, we talk about script. If we talk about cinematography, we talk about the music. Pacing. I do enjoy the editing and pacing of this film. This film is competently paced. It's competently edited. Um, I think this was a well put together film. Uh, I even like the fact that even though there's a lot of characters, there's a lot. This movie is hefty. This movie is real hefty. They got some heft in it, but it doesn't collapse underneath all that weight. All right, It doesn't collapse underneath all these characters that are in this film, even though this film is hefty. Um, so you got that right now. When we all came here to to what we all came here for, we all came here to see. It's this guy right here. I mean, right now you just see the neckline. You don't really see his face. Like if I tilt the camera, you might be able to see his face a little bit. You don't really. Then now, this not mess up the green scenery. But right here, this guy. This guy's neckline down. David Corenswet. Is he a good Superman? Is he Christopher Reeves? Is he Henry Cavill? Is he Dean Cain? He's not Dean Cain. Yay. He's not Christopher Reeves, unfortunately. But he's, if you ask me, as somebody who is aware of who Superman is supposed to be, from the comics, the cartoons, even the Christopher Reeve movie, he is, in my opinion, ahead of Henry Cavill. To me, there is a warmth, there is a gee golly gosh nature that Superman is supposed to have that this guy has. There is an optimism. There is, a good dude quality um, to Cornsweat Superman. James Gunn even said that this movie is about kindness, and yeah, he is this guy right here, totally kind, right? He nails the character of Superman, and he, in my opinion, is behind Christopher Reeve as the second best person to don the cape and the trunks. All right, uh, he was able to thrive and represent the character underneath all that heft in the movie. So, you know, I got to give it up to Corn Sweat right there, right behind me with his arms all folded. I got to give it up to him. He did a good job. The boy's good. That boy's good. Um, the person who steals the movie for me, you're going to hear it in a lot of reviews. You're going to hear it in a lot of podcasts and in a lot of articles. Is I'm going to butcher his last name. I'm just going to call him Eddie. Um, Eddie, who plays Mr. Terrific. Yes, Mr. Terrific. If you don't know, genius character, third smartest person in the DC universe. Black man, Afro, fair play, has a big black T on his face, and he really hasn't been on the big screen. Well, he's never been on the big screen. He's been on the small screen. He's been on that TV show Arrow. There's a variation of his character on Arrow. I didn't really like his character on Arrow. I never really liked the Mister Terrific character in the comic books, but this film made me a fan of the character. I think it was just something in the way that Eddie portrays that character. There's like a smooth, nerdy. I can't remember to say this. A smooth, nerdy John Shaftism about his version of Mr. Terrific that I could get behind, and I really, really enjoyed his interpretation of the character, and I really want to see what they're gonna do going forward with the character. If I mean, I would love to see him in his own little spin-off TV show, maybe a low budget film. I would really like that. I mean, he's definitely servicing the Batman role of this proto Justice League. He's definitely Batman coded, even though they're two different characters. But like, there's like certain lines of dialogue in a movie that I'm just like, yeah, Batman would have said that. And another thing about this movie I like, it's like a cartoon. It's like the cartoons from back in the day in the DCAU with the Superman. It's like a live action episode of Superman the animated series or Justice League Unlimited, which I appreciate. Um, but yeah, Eddie, he's a great Mr. Terrific. He actually steals the film, and then right behind him, like for me, people steal the film. It's going to be Eddie, and then it's going to be Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor. I think what he does as Lex Luthor uh, is is remarkable. Um, the actor, he was on this podcast, the Inside of You podcast with Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor back in Smallville. And on the show, he even said that Nicholas Holt said on the show that he based his Lex Luthor in this film right here off of Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor in the Smallville show. And I can see it. There's brushstrokes, there's shades of that homage. Um, and I think he delivers to me uh, the definitive Lex Luthor. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I think he's the definitive Lex Luthor. His Lex Luthor was ruthless, cold, at times charming, at times funny. He does something so dark in this film that it made like the audience like gasp. People like to say because it's like an animated film, oh, he's a little kitty Superman, but he does something serious in there. Everybody's like, ooh, whoa, no, bro. Like he was what Lex needed to be in this film. And I think I heard somebody comp him to Heath Ledger's Joker. I ain't gonna say all that. I ain't gonna comp him to Heath, but I will say that he was very definitive. And I think a lot of people are going to walk away being very impressed by this film's version of Lex Luthor. I know I was definitely impressed by Lex in this film. Um, Even his plan, which I'm not going to spoil here because it's a non-spoiler, but even his plan was like, at first you like, okay, this leads to that, and then that leads to that, and then you go over there, and that leads back over here, and then that here, and at first you like, okay, I think I'm following, then you get a little bit lost, then you're like, okay, I get it. That, it, hey man, you need a good actor to sell that, and Nicholas Hoult definitely sells that. And there's a moment in here where I'm just like, there's a moment in this movie where I like if I was a Lex would definitely unalive me if I was a henchman because I'm like, bro, are you in love with Superman? Like I'm like like this moment where I'm just like, Lex is treating Superman like a jealous ex, like for real, like it. At a certain point, it goes from hatery, to like straight up like bro, are you in love with this dude? We all working for you right now. Yeah, we are for the cause with the whole Superman thing. But bruh, you like this man keeps you up at night, man. I mean, like we got other stuff going on in our lives. So Superman ain't really keeping us, but he's keeping you up at night, bruh. Is this what you want to tell us? Did y'all date in the '80s? Like, what's going on? That's Lex in this film. I'm like, damn, man, you are way too obsessed with Superman. Like there's like normal arch enemy stuff, and then there's like, I'm mad at you because you dumped me on Christmas Eve, and I ain't never let that go. Like they're like, I'm just like, there's levels to this Lex, and you are far beyond arch enemy, far beyond it. I'm like Lex, what happened? Like he's way too obsessed with Superman in this movie. And I'm like I said, so like if I was his henchman and I called him out, I'd probably definitely be dead for sure for calling him out on it. But I'm like, come on, bro, Lex, come on, man, it ain't that serious. Uh, there are two stingers in this film. Um, they're not like so. Well, I'm liking what James Gunn is doing with the DC universe is that the Stingers is not like this movie is a movie within itself. It's not selling you on. I mean, technically, it is selling you on the universe because it's already have pre-established characters. But it's a as a beginning, a middle, and the end. It's not like trying to leave breadcrumbs for the next film. And if there is breadcrumbs, it's going to be so minor and minuscule that you're barely going to even notice, like they did here. Um, and people have definitely certainly accused, the other studio who has great superhero movies of not being completed films and are setting up the next film, which I don't necessarily agree with. But this film is definitely its own film. You can tell James Gunn's vision is all over the film, um, and you can definitely tell that 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 um, they're definitely setting up a universe. This is definitely a universe, but this film is its own film that stands on its own. So the post credit scenes don't really set up anything. They're more like just slice of life sequences that don't really have anything to do with the movie. Don't really have anything to do with the next movie. So you can definitely stay if you want to, but you're free. You're free to leave because it's nothing like it's not like ooh now this sets up Justice League or the world's finest. Uh, this movie is a solid 8. Um, it's a solid 8, which I think that's what you need to have when you're starting a universe. If you do a 10, then every movie these entitled audience members are going to expect basically more of the 10s. So you want to start at an 8, a nice solid 8, and you just go on from there. And that's what this movie needed to be. This movie needed to be a solid 8 out of 10, which it is. And you're off to the races, man. Like I'm honestly excited for the Green Lantern show, Peacemaker 2. I'm excited even for Supergirl, which comes out next summer, next June. So I'm really excited for where this universe is going. I'm really excited from what this look. I live near Cleveland. Cleveland looks amazing as Metropolis. Which, by the way, Metropolis is actually based on Cleveland from the original comics. So, haha. But the land looks beautiful. And there were moments in this film where I was kind of like set it back and I'm like, oh, I've been there. Oh, I've been there too. Oh, I've definitely been in there. Like, it's a nice little fun game to play when you're from Cleveland. And this film definitely makes the city look beautiful. Uh, let's see, I think that's all I really have to say about Superman. I definitely say check it out. I might do a little spoiler discussion on Sunday. You go in there again, do a little deep dive. Get really deep with it. Get really deep and explain the heft of this movie. So I might definitely do a deep dive Saturday. Might definitely do a deep dive on Sunday. Don't hold me to it. Like I said, I've been out of commission for the last 3 weeks, and I'm so glad I'm back. So glad I get to talk about this guy and his neckline. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna be back talking about Heads of State, and I'm gonna be back talking about Old Guard and Ironheart as well. So be on the lookout for those. This is Johnny Loves Movie. Hello. And thank you for listening. You guys have a lovely day.